Today I have Comrade Bernard, who has been diabetic since 2008, though type 2 diabetes. He's here today to share with us his diabetic experience and how well he's been living and managing diabetes. Good to have you.
Thank you very much. My journey of diabetes started 2008. From the very beginning, I was in an NYSC orientation camp. I'm an instructor. So one of the morning, I took my platoon. We were doing this morning jogging, and suddenly I started feeling very weak. And I was just looking at myself that something is wrong somewhere. I tried to persevere, but somewhere there, I was getting weaker and weaker. I called one of the coppers. I said, please, can you continue singing for let me just find out what was happening. I stood by and my legs were shaking. I couldn't continue with the jogging. And I came back to the camp. I went to the camp clinic. I thought it was typhoid or any of this. So they gave me typhoid drugs and I felt well a little. But eventually the thing continued until I have to travel to Lagos. In the process of traveling to Lagos, because I was still feeling weak, my drinks were just all these sugary drinks, and I was buying all the sugary drinks like Acera, Coke, and all of that, drinking to get energy. But I was getting weaker and weaker. I couldn't stay in Lagos for long because then I was just looking for a job and I thought I should start from Lagos. Incidentally, I came back home, met my wife, discussed with her, and she suggested that I should go to the hospital. I went there. My urine sample was taken and blood sample. And the doctor started asking me questions like, is anybody in your family diabetic? I said no. Because the sugar content in the urine was high, the one of the blood was high, and that was how he diagnosed me as a diabetic. Placed me on some tablet, and I started taking those tablets, in that 2008. But between 2008 to 2010, there was no improvement. I keep taking these drugs, and the symptoms continue. Because immediately after, those I share my situation with, all of them turned out to be doctors. This one was telling me, bros, you need to be eating only beans, plantain, drink bitter leaf juice, you squeeze, and all of that. I was sentenced to those, kind of food. But yet, I was not seeing, that kind of improvement. Now, somebody now suggested to me that, can you go to teaching hospital? I believe there is an association that they call Diabetes Association, and diabetics converge on a particular day, and they screen them, give lectures, and all of that. That was the beginning of my knowing diabetes in details. When I went there, I met an endocrinologist who was like trying to dissect, to explain the diabetes, the way it works, either in the blood and all of that. So as I was consistently, attending those meetings, and I was also advised that I should be coming along with my wife. So I was also taking my wife to the hospital every Wednesday as a University of Calabar Teaching Hospital. So my wife was also listening, because it was just the drugs, the different method of monitoring. I must have a glucometer to be checking my blood sugar. The other way was diet. As against eating only plantain and beans. One of the doctors told me that I can eat anything, but in moderation. Initially, I was doubting, which one should I believe now? This one is telling me, eat only beans and plantain. This one is telling me, eat all types of food, but in moderation. But that second advice was the one I took. And eventually, when I started practicing that, I began to see that to an extent my blood sugar was being controlled. I started getting energy and all of that. But initially, before that 2010, diabetes almost cost me my marriage. I have met with the priest after the pre-marriage counseling and told him that I want to move this wedding forward because I don't have energy and all of that. The priest prayed for me and also encouraged me that any problem you postpone to another day, you are going to have many more problems too waiting for you. So I just tried to persevere until we got our marriage wedding done. But since then, my wife too, who was listening to the medical advice, she knows what to prepare for me in whichever quantity and all of that. And I just begin to pick up. Eventually, I get myself committed to the association to the extent that I also counsel people for now. I share my experience, all that I have passed through and all of that. And today, though I cannot say the diabetes is completely off, but I continue to monitor my blood sugar on daily basis. And when it is high, I will now retrace my activities for the day. Maybe I ate late, too much food with so much carbohydrate and all of that. But like the dietitian will always recommend that every food we eat, vegetables should always be part of it. We should be eating plenty of vegetable. Okay. Incidentally, the vegetable is not as if it's waiting for me in my kitchen or whatever. We need to buy. So for you to diet is even very, very expensive. Now, if you don't have enough, financial, turnover in whatever you are doing, it's not easy to maintain all this diet as recommended by dietitians. Okay. But the journey of the diabetes so far, from that 2008 till now, I still believe God that He has His own supernatural ways of taking care of us. But for now, I continue to do exactly what the medical professionals have advised me to.
Okay, sorry to cut you. You said diabetes almost cost you your marriage. How was that?
Yes. Initially, when I didn't know that I was diabetic, we married 2007. And that is the year too we had our first baby. But I was having this challenge of, not meeting up with my sexual obligation with my wife. Yeah. My wife was accusing me that I've been meeting some girls outside. And when I now come to her, I am weak and all of that. I didn't know how to prove this to her that, please, I'm not keeping any extramarital affairs. Now, there was this pressure and she was even threatening to divorce, and that was when our marriage just started. So it is diabetes that almost caused this divorce. So
that's to say erectile dysfunction is one of the complications of that?
Yes, erectile dysfunction is one of those complications I suffered. Okay. But then, because my dietitians and endocrinologists have always been, advising me, and I've been giving them feedback, what exactly is happening from the last visitation to now and all of that. So after some time with some drugs and the management of once the blood sugar is low or is at moderation, I don't feel any erectile dysfunction. But anytime I feel it, even as I'm sitting down here, is when the sugar is high. So my wife also helped me to ensure that I don't do anything that will always raise my sugar high so that I don't disappoint her on bed.